All right, so ready? One, two, three. Hey,
Right.
okay.
Let's celebrate 1 year. We did it, boys.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Year.
Wow, what a reaction. I'm glad everybody's
just super
Yay!
so excited.
I have a question for the ladies. Did you think that we would actually do this every week for an entire year when we told you what we were doing?
I was
Yes.
hoping that.
Why were you were hoping not?
Up every week.
Right?
Yeah, it's impressive. Cheers.
That's what I'm talking. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
That's pretty crazy. From an idea on a text message chain to a full 52 episodes.
Are you gonna cry right now?
No,
Let's let it out.
no, I'm not gonna cry. I'm just
I'm gonna cry.
Your feelings right now.
All right, Colin, what has been your favorite thing about the podcast?
My favorite thing about the podcast? Oh, that's an easy one. Hanging out with you guys every week. I mean, above all
Aw.
else, I just get to drink wine with my boys. What's better? Nothing.
Aw,
That
that's
is
funny.
nice. That is nice.
Chrissy, what's your favorite thing about the podcast?
Is it hearing everyone's voice repeat words while you're editing over and over again?
I was actually going to say for you, Chrissy, the question maybe should be, what's your least favorite part about the podcast? You've lost officially your kitchen table, and yeah, you have to listen to Colin editing podcasts all the time.
It was probably the first 10 to 12 episodes that she had to listen to me edit live before
God,
I
those
put
were
the phones
those were our 10 worst episodes too. So
Yeah,
my
no,
God.
I know. Then that's why
Lots
there
of
was
likes
one.
and
I agree.
There was
No, I'm just kidding.
there was one word that I tried to edit Aaron saying. I forget what the word was, but she's like, if I have to listen to Aaron say this word one more time, I'm gonna lose
It
it.
was like the name of a wine or what region it was from. It was just like on repeat for like a solid 30 minutes. Just you
Was
saying
it
this one
Loire?
word.
Was it the Loire episode?
Oh,
You might have been.
yeah, it probably
Loire.
was.
Loire.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's
All right, Joel, what's your favorite thing been about this podcast?
So yeah, I won't definitely hanging out with you guys, but I'll add one since I don't want to be a cheater here. But I would say learning. I definitely looking back a year ago, I definitely feel more confident. Like looking through a wine list and picking something good out. I've still had a couple of misses here and there, but for the most part, my choices have been pretty good. I will tell you, there are, for the listener at home, we usually record about 9 o'clock at night. There are some times at 8:20 where I'm like, oh my God, I don't have it in me. I don't want to do this right now. And then at 9:04, because I'm usually 3 minutes late, more than that, I'm so excited about doing it. I start talking, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is awesome. This is fun.
It's because you're a performer, Joel. It's showtime, baby. You walk out on stage and the magic happens.
It locks in.
Nice.
Curtains go up.
That's right. That's right.
What about you, Kathy? Do you have a favorite thing about the podcast?
Or least favorite. You can answer either way.
I love all the fun facts. And then I feel like we've also been trying a lot more of different wines from different categories while we're out places. Just things that, you guys had mentioned on the podcast are an interesting region. So instead of ordering the same wine, the off chance that we get to go out to dinner. Once we get a babysitter, it's been fun to kind of try some new things.
Okay. How about you guys? Yeah.
I think my favorite thing about the podcast is very similar to Kathy's. I am excited to not be a wine dummy anymore. I know I still have the palate of a 5-year-old, but at least knowledge of that there is more than Pinot Grigio and Pinot Noir and Syrah in the world is exciting. So I really happy that I can now go into a wine store and identify wines from that's from South Africa, that's from this region in France, this is from Argentina, and that's just kind of opened up a whole new world. So I'm excited to keep that going.
Aaron,
dear, your favorite thing.
Oh.
I know there's nothing she does not like about this weekly adventure.
I would say I learned to like some red wines. I was a staunch, I don't like red. But I do. I like some Malbecs and I like some Riojas.
Rioja, a word we didn't know existed before this last year.
Yeah. And then I'd
Nice.
say my other favorite thing is that on Tuesday nights, I get to watch as much Bravo as I want without annoying him because he's downstairs for quite some time. Just want to say that I'm very proud of all of you guys for sticking to a commitment of hanging out, recording every week, starting this new hobby. And I've enjoyed being able to sip the wine with you guys upstairs.
Yeah. As I
Yeah.
hand the wine
So
glass up the
cheers.
stairs. Cheers. Thank you.
How about one for our wives for putting up with all of our craziness over the last year? Thanks for
Amen.
everything. Also, the listener should not forget that we've all got dogs and kids and all that stuff going on, and them getting sick here and there and all that. And so a lot of picking up to let us do this. So thank you all. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yay,
And
cheers.
because of that, we didn't miss a week.
That's we made it every week for
Through every holiday. 52 straight weeks.
Pretty crazy.
Wouldn't be possible
Here's
without the
the-
wives. So
Wouldn't
Right.
possible. Here's
Cheers to
52 more. Thanks a lot. Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast where we waste our wine so you don't have to. On today's episode, we review
a sparkling wine from France.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Aaron here, and I am joined by two of the most celebratory guys I know, Joel and Colin. How are you guys doing today?
Oh,
Cheers to that.
such a good
Cheers.
mood. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers.
Absolutely.
Woo.
Big celebration today.
Mm-hmm.
As we celebrated in our opening banter with our wives, it's been 1 year. 1 year every Tuesday-ish night.
Mm-hmm. Pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I'd say for the listener at home, we have had moments where we are sick, where our kids are sick, where we're all busy, and we're like, we have to record every week. Colin has turned around editing in like 48 hours.
Yeah.
There have been a couple episodes that have been that fast. It's been
Gotten really good.
been a wild ride. That's for sure.
And so here we are. Here we are celebrating, having a great little Tuesday evening, drinking a sparkling wine. No one is pregnant.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Yep.
Okay, so this is simply a champagne to celebrate 1 year of dedication to the pod.
Yeah. There's really no better way to celebrate that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And actual champagne. Let's call that out too. This is not just Aaron didn't flub that. This is actually champagne from Champagne.
Totally. And it's an exciting one that we are stoked to share with you because, as has been the theme of this show, we always want to find a good wine that is a good bang for your buck. And I think we have found one here that is really quality and enjoyable and in a price range that feels good. Joel, can you tell us what we're drinking today?
Yes. So today we are drinking the de Saint-Gall Premier Cru Champagne. This is a blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, obviously from the region of Champagne. This is a 12.5. This is a 12.5 ABV bottle of champagne, and we picked this up. We're celebrating here from Total Wine for $43.99.
A little pricey, but I think for a celebration, it's okay to splurge every once in a while, and I think this is an appropriate splurge.
I couldn't agree more.
Pricey for our podcast, but in the world of buying a bottle of champagne, that feels on the lower end, right? Like when we did the Veuve Clicquot episode, like that was a $50 to $55 bottle of wine, and is a bottle of wine that a lot of wine snobbish people think is a cheaper, more touristy version of champagne. And this is $10 less. And I would say it's a brand that your average wine drinker is not familiar with. I think this is a really good example, hopefully, of a diamond in the rough, of a quality champagne that isn't going to break the bank, that you could pick up and bring to someone's place that people can celebrate and talk about.
And part of the reason why I picked this one was because I think you can get a lot of value out of this. This is a Premier Cru Champagne, which, if you're not familiar with the verbiage, Champagne has a 3-tiered quality system. You have your regular crus, you have your Premier Cru, and then you have your Grand Cru. So this is supposed to be an elevated wine. So that's why I wanted to try this one, because I don't think you see too much Premier Cru Champagne in the
Yeah.
40 $45 range. So really excited to give this one a shot.
Agreed. And I just want to remind us and the listener, the last proper champagne we tried was the aforementioned Veuve Clicquot. And we kind of left that conversation saying we know that there's better champagnes around this price point. And this is exactly around that price point. Aaron and I were just looking up what we spent for that Veuve Clicquot. For us, Colin, it was like 42, 43. Aaron, I think you paid the New Jersey tax on that one.
It was 49, Joel. You
It was
paid $49.
49, and then you paid so a little bit more than this.
And I paid 55. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
We left kind of looking for something in that range that maybe we could compare it to. So I'm really excited that you chose this one and that we're trying this today.
And we also left, and I'm glad this conversation, because I know it's our 1-year anniversary, so we want to spend a little time before we get into the review, kind of just reminiscing about all the wines we've explored. And what a great place to start us off, because we've also this year reviewed the Chandon, right? And the Chandon, we felt, for I think at the time was like a $22, $23 price point, and they've actually recently dropped their price on their Brut. It's now closer to $18. And we kind of decided in that moment, between those two reviews, that there was not a big enough difference between the Chandon, or at least Colin and I know, Joel, you had your emotional connection.
Yes.
But
there's intrinsic value to the Veuve Clicquot for me.
Sure. But there was not a big enough jump between the quality of the Chandon sparkling wine, which is a very tasty sparkling wine from Napa, and the champagne for Veuve Clicquot that justified a $30, $35 price leap. Like, it just didn't exist. So, like, again, like
I agree with that, by the way. I agree.
Welcome back. Pull you back from the edge. But yeah, so like that is actually one of my like kind of fondest little moments. And over time, talking to different people about both Chandon and Veuve Clicquot, they're both kind of like the touristy, affordable American sparkling wine and the touristy, affordable champagne. So great entry point to kind of talk about our bang for our buck. And now I'm excited that we're kind of moving on to something a little bit more off the beaten path to see if we can find something that splits the difference between the two and isn't so like touristy, to keep using that word. So talking about all the different like champagnes and sparkling wines. And then we also talked about Cremant with the Louis Bouillot. And I feel like that, at least for me over the last year, just opened up this whole new world of just sparkling wines. And it wasn't just that. We've done that over this year with different kinds of wines, right? And so like let's talk about that a little bit. Like let's go to reds. Like before we started this podcast, if someone sent me to a store to get a red wine, I would come back with maybe a Pinot Noir, because I just know that's a red wine. Maybe I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a Syrah because I know that's red. But that was like it.
Yeah.
This year, I feel like we've just unlocked so much.
For sure. Yeah, I was very stuck in like a Côte d'Aron world because it was the first region that I kind of got familiar with, and I felt really cool and knowledgeable by knowing that. And everywhere I went, I would just get a Côte d'Aron because I knew nothing else. So this got me out of my ruts and trying new things.
For sure. I've always kind of been a little more on the experimental side. I brought up at one point that I used to write a wine blog. So, I've been kind of doing the wine searching out for a while now, but I think what has been so much fun about this is getting your guys' perspective, because, I can just do this by myself. It's kind of the same thing over and over again, but to listen to other people like experience the same wine along with me while I'm experiencing it has been a really cool and new thing that I've really enjoyed the time tasting with you guys. And I think just tasting with people is great. I think a huge part of learning, especially when it comes to expanding your palate and learning new terms and stuff like that, and getting more comfortable, is just being around other people also enjoying wine. So I've definitely learned a lot from you guys, and been a lot of growth all around this year. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, was it also a confidence booster as you would sit there and listen to us knuckleheads try to figure out our way around wine? You're like, oh man, maybe I do know a little bit about this stuff.
Absolutely, for sure. No, I every once in a while I surprise myself, but I try to stay humble too. I definitely don't know everything
There
there
you
is to
go.
know, and I try to remind myself of that.
But that's such a fun kind of thing to name right there, Joel, because I always feel like a little bit of a dummy when I'm talking to you two. And I feel like as we've been exploring wine, we've all just kind of been moving at the same speed up. So I'm
Mhm.
getting a lot better than I was a year ago, but you two have also grown. So I'm like chasing you guys. I will go to a friend's place and I'll bring some bottles of wine, and I'm still have that imposter syndrome mindset of course these folks are going to know this thing. And then they'll start asking me about the bottle I brought, and I'll be like, oh, this is a Rioja. And they'll say, okay, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's a wine from Spain. And if you look here and you look at the sticker color on the back, and that tells you how long it's been aged for, and it falls into these different categories, and people I'm talking to are like, oh wow,
Yep.
it's really cool, I didn't know that. And
Yep.
so now I'm like, oh shoot, I do know a little bit.
Yeah.
That's really neat. And so I'm very
And
appreciative of the time y'all have spent teaching me, because it's great. It's a thing. We know things.
well, and let me specifically call out something that I think we're all talking about here, but we haven't really 100% called out, which is how fun not just doing this podcast, but getting more confident and comfortable in your wine knowledge has been outside of it too. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like I've always talked about, ordering off the menu, or walking into a wine store and having a conversation with people who are way more knowledgeable about wine than I am. But a year ago, I would not have been comfortable doing that, or asking a question that had a little tidbit of information in there. But now it's so fun, and it starts that conversation. What's the person you're talking to is like, oh, this person knows a little bit. Like, just the conversation and what you get into is so much cooler, exponentially cooler, when you have a little base knowledge.
And not only cooler, but more helpful. I found when you're able to really discuss wine in at least a somewhat meaningful way, you find bottles that you like more because you're better able to describe what you like. So I think just a little bit of knowledge can really go a long way in drinking better wine, even beyond the reviews. Just having that base knowledge of some regions and some of the grapes can help you expand what you're drinking, and drink better wine.
Both from an enjoyment standpoint and like an affordability standpoint. Now, over the past
Mm-hmm.
year, have I spent
Mm-hmm.
way much more money on wine than I ever have in my entire life? Yes, but that's been a quantity issue, okay?
We do this
From
every week. That
We
adds
do
up.
this every week, and I would like to say it's been 52 bottles of wine, but it has been way more than that, because now
Way
I
more
go back and I'm like, "Oh, I like that other bottle that
research.
we had." So, when I go
Research.
back in there and
Right.
picking up a couple. So it's been a lot of bottles of wine in my life.
Yeah.
That being said, when we learn about the kind of wines that we've learned about over the course of this year, and we learn about a really solid Vino Verde, and you just know it's not cheap because it's cheap, but it's inexpensive because of demand from that area, or production costs in that area. When you talk
Yep.
about a Portuguese wine or a Spanish wine, or wine just from another region that is Cremant versus Champagne, you're opening up
Yeah.
this aspect where you are finding quality wine at affordable prices that you cannot do if you
Yeah.
don't know anything past the basics of, like,
Yes.
this is a champagne, this is a Pinot Noir, this is whatever, because those wines are always going to scale in price from quality wise.
It's the confidence. It's knowing that you can go in and say, "Hey, I want a Bordeaux for $25, and if I had this one that was amazing last week, so show me something like that." Or, I want to spend $50 on a champagne, and don't even show me the Veuve Clicquot, because I know there's far better at that price point. Like that. Like, yeah, just to your point, we've always tried to be very budget friendly and numbers conscious, and I didn't realize at the start of it that the knowledge would help me to be that way, to find the diamonds in the rough. That's been really cool. Well, guys, let me ask you this question then, as we're kind of going down memory lane and reminiscing a little bit about some of these wines. Is there a wine that we reviewed that you want a second chance at reviewing?
Honestly, I want a second shot at the chicken wine, to be honest.
Thank
I
you,
feel
Colin.
I feel like if we were to try that in a vacuum, it might have had a different outcome. But, the more I see a lot of people really enjoy it, and I just didn't have that experience. So having not had it in such a long time, I want to try to see if I can feel what those people felt, because I did not feel the same way
I
when
can't wait. I
drank.
want a redemption episode of bringing back the chicken wine. It'll only cost you $11, and we'll do that. I think that's good.
That's doable.
I have a flip side one. I really enjoy the Cote d'Aron from Igugao. Naturally over time, when we first reviewed it, it was the 2019. Now you can only really find the 2020 in the stores. And I noticed they have started really mass producing. You can now get it at Costco. I can get it at my local supermarket. And it's still a go-to wine that I generally have 1 or 2 bottles like in the pantry ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be worth revisiting to see if the 2020 is still kind of like the knock your socks off Cote d'Aron that the 2019 was. I mean, things change, right? And especially as
Taste
people
change.
expand, as people do more. I still think it's solid, especially at the price point. And I think we should. It's sitting. I think that is still sitting in both of your wine fridges. I think it deserves a revisit, because right now I think it's there in legend. It's there in lore.
Okay, I'm not just saying this because of what we're trying today and our conversation. I would like to go back to the Veuve Clicquot, but not to change.
My
No.
God,
Hear me
Joel.
out. Hear me out. Not to change where I put it, because I would keep it on my kitchen table 100%. Okay. For all the aforementioned reasons, go back and listen to it if you didn't listen to that one. But I definitely let, as we mentioned, some of my preconceived notions guide some of my comments on that one.
You want to go back, not to give it another chance, but to give yourself another chance.
That is correct, sir. Yeah. I don't want to be swayed I don't want that to be my review style, which is I come in with an idea and I just talk about that. Like, I want to be very genuine and true when I try these things. So yeah, another go at it to approach it differently, but I stand by, I would not move it.
And talking about all these wines has got me thinking about some of my favorite wines that aren't necessarily in our wine fridge. So what would you guys say? A wine that hasn't been in your wine fridge before, not one that's been kicked out, but what's the one at the very, very edge of your kitchen table that didn't quite make it into the wine fridge, but maybe could have?
Oh man, that's tricky. I think, and I'm gonna say we were nervous that Ashwin was on the show, and we didn't want to hype something up too much in front of him. He lives in Italy. He's a sommelier. Like, I think we were all nervous, and we were all like, "Yeah, the La Sacrestia is a kitchen table wine." And then he got to it, and he was like, "This is the bomb. If I had a wine fridge, I would put this. What's wrong with you people?" Like, he's like, "This is like," and so that is one that I would go back, and I would love to have that like confidence of being like, "Ooh, yeah, we found something good here."
For sure. Joel, do you have one?
I hate to do it, but that was going to be my answer as well. And I'll tell you why. I have ordered that bottle of wine so many times, when we all know I'm a little bit of a procrastinator sometimes on securing our wine for that evening. So I like to do the delivery from Total Wine a lot. You have to have like a $35, minimum. So
you got to
tack on. And without fail, about 4 weeks in a row, I either added the La Sacrestia Nebbiolo or Barolo. Tried them both.
Nice.
I went back and forth a little bit. So that is definitely one that sticks out in my mind. I had another one too.
The layer cake?
Yeah.
No?
Okay. Oh God. Brought that up 2 episodes in a row now.
What about you, Caldwell?
Yeah, I have 2. The Dom de Camp Werner Riesling. I know, Aaron, you fought hard to put that one in there. I
Yeah.
Never coming
refuse to
out.
go back and change my rating. That's right. That wine was it was exceptional. Like I don't know why I didn't put it in there, honestly.
Mhm.
I feel bad about it every day. And then actually recently, and I kind of said this after we were done recording, but the Touriga Nacional was right up there for me.
Mhm.
The Quinta das Cavalas. Really, I think if my wine fridge had been more empty, I think that one
Yeah.
would have made it. I enjoyed the heck out of that one. It was really, really good. So
Mhm.
those are probably my 2 that are right on the edge.
Mhm.
And actually, number 3, I agree with you on that Nebbiolo. That was an absolutely
Yeah.
outstanding bottle of wine.
But also I would say I think some of my favorites are not in my wine fridge. I remember
Mhm.
we really liked the Michael David Winery Freak Show, and I haven't gone back
Mhm.
and revisited it, but I would like to go try that again. It's just a really great bang for your buck and it's just fun to bring over people's houses is the cava that we did,
Mm.
the
Yeah.
Marquis de Mistral. It goes for
Absolutely.
$11 now. They also dropped their price a bunch, so that's always on sale, and that's just
It's pretty good.
a solid ball of sparkling just to grab and bring over with that really cool like yellow bottle.
Yeah, I think one that stuck out to me that I wanted to try again because I remember being just so shocked by how much we enjoyed it was the Olema Rosé from, like, episode 2.
Mhm.
Like,
That's
that's
funny you
one
say
that,
that.
like,
Yeah.
That's a
I
go-to. We usually have a bottle of that in our fridge.
yeah, I think about that wine a lot and just how enjoyable it was, but, I haven't picked it up since, and I
Yeah.
don't know why, but that's definitely one that I'd like to revisit because it was great at the time.
It's funny you went back into the archives because I was actually going to say too the Muirwood Chardonnay, the one that kicked us all off. Like
Yeah,
I remember
yeah, for
going into
sure.
that one too, and just again preconceived notions of not liking Chardonnay and being shocked at how much I really enjoyed that one too. It kind of like blew my white wine mind open from day one, which I think was really good.
We should
Really, really,
revisit some of these wines in the next few
yeah,
weeks and just kind of like go back and shout them out because we reviewed the Mirror Chardonnay when we had 30 followers on Instagram.
yeah,
So we are
And
significantly
0
and zero listeners that we
yeah.
didn't know. So they deserve. Although I will say the Mirror Chardonnay episode has hit a recent milestone. It has the most listens of all of our episodes.
Oh
Anyone that
wow,
discovers our show gives a listen to it. So
good,
that's always fun.
good.
Don't listen to that one because it's by far the worst. Just as far as
Hey,
content
we
and
were
editing is concerned,
Enjoyable.
it's
I've
terrible.
gone back and
we were
listened to it.
finding our feet.
It's not great.
So if there's one episode that we could do again, with that being said, I think
Mm,
we should give the Mirror Chardonnay another shot,
yeah,
give it the credit where credit's due. What else
totally.
should we go back? Maybe a concept, maybe, what do you want? What do you want to do? I know what you're going
Uh,
to say, Joel.
do you? What do you think I'm going to say? Because I bet you don't. I think I'm going to shock
Oh,
you.
I was going to say you want to do the grocery store showdown again, but what are you going to say?
I 100% do. Okay. If your question is what
Was that
region,
what you were going to say?
no, no, no. Because if you were going to say
Okay,
what
okay, okay.
region or something like that, region or varietal, I had an answer for that. But then format of a show, 100% the grocery store challenge or some kind of challenge. Like I just want to do more things where we each have to try to bring in the best version of something and we have a little competitive nature about it. Because I thought that was
I
really
agree.
fun. Yeah.
I agree. And I think I understand social media a little bit more now than I did in our like 10th episode. So I think I can explain. I think people didn't understand what the heck that meant when we did it. So I
Sure.
think
I
I can
agree.
explain it better
Sure.
on the Instagram.
Yes.
What was the one you were going to say, Joel?
Well, if you're gonna say, a region to go back to, honestly, the Dominican Werner folks were so cool to us, and I feel like
Mm.
we haven't really. We've done a couple of Rieslings, but not a whole lot. And I feel like that is just an area that is ripe with not only really good wines, but really, really good, families and people behind these vineyards that maybe doesn't get quite as much love as again, like, the France, Spain, Italy of the world. So I'd like to go a little bit more back into Germany.
I would love to try more of their wines too, specifically. They
Totally.
were so chill and they were so cool. And they have a couple others that we can get. And, I would love to. I love the connections we make and I love the people we meet. And I would
Yeah.
love to talk more about what they have. Colin, you were about to say something.
Yeah, no, so I have 2 things. One, I would also love to redo the grocery store wine showdown because I just thought that was such a fun episode. Like, it's
Yep.
just fun, and it hasn't gotten the love it deserves. So we
Yeah.
absolutely need to do something like that again. And two, to Joel's point about what region, like we've been doing this for a year now, and we still have so many regions and so many grapes and so many just wines to check out. We barely scratched the surface on
Yeah.
even the old world. We haven't
Mm.
tried anything out of Greece.
Mm.
We've tried a couple out of Portugal, only a couple out of Spain. We've only really scratched the surface of France. There's still
Yeah.
grapes out of France we haven't tried yet, which is crazy. So there's so much more exploring that we have to do.
So amazing. That was a nice little trip down memory lane. Let's just,
Was
before we get into it, cheers, y'all.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Just clink.
Cheers. Clink, clink.
So many wines that we tried this year, so many more to come.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Looking forward to it.
So with that being said, we have been drinking this guy. How do you feel so far? Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Tastes like wine.
So when we were coming down to record the beginning of the show, I grabbed the bottle out of the fridge and I said, Aaron, can you please grab a couple glasses for tonight's episode? And I was like, make sure you grab the white wine glasses. And she went, not the champagne flutes. And I said, no.
Look
Colin,
at
tell
you.
us about this. When you are tasting a sparkling wine or champagne, you want to use a normal wine glass so that you can sniff and swirl and do all those fun things.
I am so proud, Aaron. I am so proud. I feel like a proud papa over here. Look at you go. Look at my little
Hey.
air bear all grown up.
I'm proud, but also I want to acknowledge that there is a whole vibe to drinking champagne, and drinking from a flute or a coupe is just a finer experience. I understand that maybe the glass isn't perfect for picking up on the notes, but some situations call for a coupe or a flute. I'm just putting that out there too.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
If I'm going to
100%.
a New Year's Eve party or some kind of celebration, I am not showing up with a white wine glass or demanding a different glass so that I can experience my champagne or my sparkling wine better. I'm going to drink out of my celebratory flute tube. Like, that's fine.
Flute
Okay.
tube.
But for us reviewing this, I am
Yes.
happy that Colin shared that with us so that I can do the best job and not try to fit my
I do agree.
gigantic Kaleli schnoz into a champagne flute, which was not conducive.
I do agree.
Absolutely. Agreed. 100% agreed.
I didn't think
So
about your
now
big
that we're all
nose.
prepared, that you should. It's all the time.
Beautiful
So that
nose.
being said, let's use our big beautiful noses. Get into it. What are you getting on the nose, Colin?
Right away, I get a couple things. There's quite a bit of citrus in there. Some lemon is the one thing I pick up right off the bat, and then there's some other stuff in there too. But I don't know if you guys want to take a shot at it first, and then I can follow
Go
back
ahead,
up.
lob
But
us the ball, Colin, before you hit out of the park. So, Colin,
Well,
citrus. Joel, what do you get?
Yeah, well, let me also just say, like, the primary focus here is that lemon, and not even just citrus, but like lemon. But then also getting in there a little bit, there is a little bit of a floral note that I'm picking up on in there. But again, it's almost like what's the thing you always say, Colin? I think orange
blossom.
Orange blossom, like a little bit of an orange blossom situation, kind of backing that up in there. But you got to dig for it a little bit.
I mean, no, I think it is very much like one note, and not in a bad way, but like I'm really digging for it and I'm trying to get more. And I hear citrus and lemon, maybe a little bit of that grassy kind of smell we get sometimes, but I don't know, Colin, you're probably going to say like 16 different fruit right now, but it feels just very like steady and stable and not as wafty as some others.
Yeah, I got a couple extra ones. You get a little bit of that bready quality that you get from
We haven't said
traditional.
bready in a while. We haven't done a bready wine in a bit.
No, we haven't, but this definitely has some of that in there, and that's of course from the traditional method to sparkling wine process. Yes, and then I'm also getting like a little bit of green apple, some green fruits in here, maybe a little bit of pear. And then there's also like, I think, Aaron, you said grassiness, and I think I might tweak that to minerality because there's this stoniness that I'm picking up on. Not a lot of grass, but almost like dry stone, which is kind of weird to differentiate between wet and dry stones,
No,
but
makes sense.
not like stone after a rain, if that makes sense. It doesn't give that vibe, but it's really, really nice. Almost chalky minerality, if that makes sense. I think that's a good word for it.
I mean, I gotta dig for it. Like, I really need. You know what I need? I need a scratch and sniff pad. That's like, this is chalky minerality. This is wet
Yeah.
stone. This is grass. Like, I need a just a really firm comparative for each of these things. Because when you say this stuff now, when you said this stuff in our first 10 episodes, I thought you were insane. And I'm like, I'm going to quit this after 15 episodes because this is goofy. And now when you say these things, it tweaks a place in my brain. And I get that you're saying like, oh, not grassy, tweak that into a little more like whetstone, and my brain's with you on that. I'm like, oh, okay, I actually get the direction you're going, but I wish I had like a firmer touch point, and I know that's not a thing. Maybe this is our millions. Don't steal this, listener. Like, maybe it's a scratch and sniff pad for wine tasters.
Yeah, for sure.
My
And just
last
one more
note.
note. Oh,
Ooh,
sorry.
you
Go
both
ahead,
have
Joe.
one more note. Wait, let's see if it's the same note. Ready? We're gonna say it at the same time.
I
Ready?
doubt.
Okay.
Three. No, we're gonna just say the
Oh,
word
you
you're
want to
thinking.
try? Okay.
Ready? I'm gonna say 3, 2,
Yeah.
1, and you're gonna say it. 3,
Do we
2,
go on? Wait,
1.
wait.
Oh
Do we
God,
go
what the
on
hell? You're messing it
one?
up.
Do we go on one or do we go on
Shut
go?
up. After 3, 2, 1, go. You say it on
Okay.
go.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Tart.
Peach.
Okay. See,
Oh.
that's why I knew.
Tart peach.
Because I was just gonna say, to me, like finally the word I've been kind of floating around, just like lemon again and all this stuff. When you said green apple, I was like, yes, 100%. And the consistent thing that I'm picking up on here is just the tartness. Like, I think it's going to be incredibly crisp and tart.
Can I offer the word bright
Yeah,
instead of tart?
I
'Cause,
will
like,
take that.
I don't. Yeah, because tart might not
It's
flow if
negative.
the acid isn't as.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
Tart grass. You want bright stones.
Yeah, I
All right.
definitely didn't
that's
mean
right.
it in a
That's right.
negative way.
No. Yeah, for sure. And I'm splitting hairs here for
No,
no
this is the
reason.
kind of
But
thing we need to learn.
yeah, and then I just mentioned peach. The more I really
Yeah.
sniff around in there, you get a little bit of peach, but you definitely get a lot more of those citrusy green apple pear fruit than you do the peach. And I love the floral call because this is definitely a beautifully floral wine. I love that note.
So remember earlier when I was like, this is like a one note, just like one. F that. There's so much going on in here. My goodness. Let's taste it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Joel, what are you getting?
I think
Not Colin. Not Colin. Not you, Colin. Joel, what are you getting?
ouch.
Definitely more of the appley, and now I'm starting to see the minerality of it coming through on the taste, I think.
Mhm.
But there might be a better word for this too, Colin, so please let me know. But briny. Like it's almost like a little salty.
No, I don't hate that.
And I don't mean
Yep.
that in a bad
I like
way.
that.
Again, like it's
No.
super, super bright. I'm going to say that this time, but a little bit more of the non-citrus notes coming through on the sip for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
No. I'll go last.
yes, you will. I think a lot of the smells that we had, a lot of the aromas are translating into taste. I do agree, like you would think like it has a very lemony smell, but it's a little bit more of the green apple on the taste.
Mm.
I will say just from like a structure standpoint, like the acidity is like really great. And I really actually like the body of this. It's not as thin as you might imagine. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It actually kind of reminds me of the Cremant that we really liked, the Pinot Noir. And it's just like really, really crisp, and it's obviously like a good tasting wine, but it's also a good like feeling wine, if that makes sense. Like it's just it's a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
Colin, you may go now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, my lord.
And then to hold you back from using all the good stuff, we're just let Joel and I cook for like 30 seconds, and now release the Kraken.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said nice feeling wine because, and I've mentioned this before, but that's one thing that really makes a difference in quality for me is the experience of drinking it, even beyond the flavors. And I would totally agree. This wine is just a joy to drink. There's just the experience in your mouth.
Mhm.
It's a little weighty, but it's bright, like Joel mentioned. And then you get to the flavors, and you get some of that breadiness. I mean, this when you think about champagne, this is kind of like the typical champagne. Like champagne in all of its glory is right here. You get some of that minerality, you get some of that breadiness, you get the bright citrus, but then you get some of that appliness. The green fruit is in there. Maybe a little bit less peach. I don't know if I'm picking that up as much. Maybe on the finish,
I've never found the peach
but it's
yet.
just, and maybe that's just
Keep looking
me.
for
I don't know.
peaches, keep looking for stones, didn't find them. I taste champagne and bubbles, but like,
So yeah, just a really
canned
delightful
peaches.
sip. No, not canned peaches.
No, I only say canned peaches because I don't know if you saw that clip I posted from the movie Wine Country with Amy Poehler and
Oh
Rachel
yeah,
Dratch, but
that
I've
was great.
never related more
So
to that
good.
scene of the sommelier being like, say what you want. There's no wrong answers. And Rachel Dratch being like, canned peaches. And he's like, no. And Amy Poehler's like, you said there's no wrong answer. She's like, yeah, but that's wrong.
Canned peaches,
like
come
that's,
on.
and that's how I feel sometimes. But like, not with this wine.
No, this is fresh and bright and interesting. There are no canned peaches in this one.
Can we talk about the effervescence of this one? Like, to me, and I know that's kind of the point. We're not playing sommelier right now, but this one, just the bubbles are so tiny and lively in this in a way that I think
agree.
is on another level than I would say probably any of the other sparkling wines that we've tried so far.
And look, I've had this open for about an hour now. I haven't had it in an ice bucket. It's just sitting next to me. I have been pouring, and it is just as fizzy, just as bubbly as it was when we first poured it. And even now that it's kind of warmed up a little bit, I'm still very much enjoying it, which is kind of a strange experience with a champagne or a sparkling wine. Normally I go, shoot, I got to get this back on ice. I'm having a fine time drinking this, sitting in my what is probably a 95-degree basement at this point. Thank you, Summer.
I'm enjoying it more because when I first had it, when it was fresh out of the fridge, I enjoyed it then, but I didn't get nearly as many of the flavor notes in there. And the only thing that was really coming through to me was that brightness, and the lemon. So as it's warmed up a little bit, I probably would like to have it just a touch colder than it is right now, but it's allowed some of those other notes to poke through.
We got the smells, we got the taste. I think we've kind of given it up at this point that we're all really enjoying this. So how much do we enjoy it? Where are we going to put it?
Let's find out.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
Guys, so a new champagne in front of us, our second champagne that we've had on the show in our 1 year that we've been doing this. Hey, Joel, where are you putting this champagne?
I don't know if it's just because we spent so much time at the beginning of this conversation going down memory lane, talking about the good times. We cut out us talking about all the bad times and all the fights, which I think was a good idea. Thank you for doing that, Colin. Peel the banana. But there's a part of me that's like, is this a wine fridge one? But I think I'm going to hold just short of that. But I really, really enjoyed this. This is right in the front of the kitchen table. I'm going to say definitely the best champagne that I think we've tried on this show, and sparkling wine. I'll open it up to that as well. Really, really enjoyed it. Absolute proof that at the Veuve Clicquot price point, there's far better experiences. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and that's where it's going.
Yeah, I'm going to say similarly that I think this is absolutely excellent. Like, if we talk about our review, it's obviously on the kitchen table, and whatever our future workshop stamp of approval is, like, buy this champagne. Like, this is a good grab. You're going out, your friend's having a baby, or they bought a new house, or it's their birthday and you want to show up with it. Don't show up with Veuve Clicquot. Like, everyone shows up with that. Show up with de Saint-Gall. It's not $20. It is a slightly more expensive bottle of wine. Like, you don't want to show up with Pothic or some like $15 bottle, but like it's a decently priced, and you're not walking in with Moet or Veuve. Like you're walking with something unique and different, and it's good. So grab this and have a quality wine and don't spend $80. Like this is a really solid champagne. Solid stamp of approval. Colin, bring us home.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull an Ashwin here. At $43.99, this has no place to go but the wine fridge. I mean,
Good for
this is
you.
absolutely the fact that I'm shocked that it's not in all of our wine, to be honest, because
I
the
left it for
value.
you. I thought about it and I was like, you know what? No. I already have 2 white wines in there. This is Colin's moment to shine. Colin.
The value on this thing is incredible. Even at $43, which is one of our most expensive wines, maybe besides the Veuve that we've tried. It's an incredible wine. It's just for the price.
Great.
I don't know if you can beat it. Honestly, I don't know if you can beat it for the price. So
What are you taking out though?
I'm gonna take the Cote d'Aron out. I'm taking it out. The Eagle Gall
Getting the
is
dust
out.
off of it, just like
Yeah, I
it's
think
been in
just these
there
little.
for like a year.
I can't imagine putting this anywhere but my wine fridge because it is just
Yeah.
outstanding. And again, for the price, it's everything I look for in a wine. It's interesting to drink flavor wise. The experience itself is just outstanding. It's an absolute pleasure to actually, the physical sensation is just so nice. And again, I just can't get over that this is $43. Like
It is pretty
it's
wild.
just an
Great
outstanding price.
price.
It's an
Incredible.
outstanding price for this quality of champagne. So
Yep.
straight to the wine fridge for this one.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Colin, congratulations. You now have a white wine in your fridge. Sparkling,
It's huge.
but you guys were both like
Sparkling wine is
solidly
white
red
wine.
wine, so we're moving in the right direction. Congrats. Salute to the Eagle Gal. Like you served
Yes.
your time bravely, and we'll never
Yeah.
forget you.
And it's still, let me remind everybody too, we've got the Eagle Gal holdout in Joel's wine fridge right now. Okay. So
Absolutely.
they're not leaving us completely yet, Eagle Gal. You're still important to us.
And on our website, we will list the wines that were in our wine fridge, whether they were there for a while or fleetingly, because they were there for a moment, and that says something.
It's a
And
big deal.
so I think as we kind of revamp our show going into year 2, we should really make a list of like the wines that we don't only think are decent, but like we are recommending, like these are things that we really enjoy and think are worth paying for their buck. And the Cote d'Aron is 100% in there. And now just again, like a fantastic champagne that is not on your average person's radar at all. And this is a great moment.
Colin, thanks for ending our 1-year anniversary show on a bang. That was fun. That's fun.
Serious bang.
Yeah. Well, let's thank Saint-Gall for creating just an outstanding champagne. It's all on them.
Yeah.
So, cheers to them.
For sure.
Absolutely. So obviously, not a waste of your wine. Another fantastic episode. 52 episodes in. Excited for our next episode. Until then,
One more question. Pinot or Chardonnay? Another 52 episodes.
Oh, Chardonnay. I love seeing your faces. I have this sweet microphone. I just bought lights. Let's go. Chardonnay.
Do it.
Joel?
Man, 52 is a lot, man. 52 is a lot of episodes. I will go with Chardonnay. Let's do it. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Yes, baby. Let's go.
We got him.
New
We
year.
got him.
All right. All right, folks. Thanks so much for joining us.
Okay, good.
As always, please reach out to us on Instagram, Stop Wasting Your Wine. Check out our website, stopwastingyourwine.com. Email us, stopwastingyourwine@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at our Stop Wasting Your Wine channel. And, if you are someone in the wine industry who would like to be on the show, please email us, reach out. We're always looking for new guests.
Hey, can we just give a special shout out to all the listeners that have been with us for the last year and that keep coming back and listening? We appreciate you so much. You're why we keep coming back to do this. That and this being a whole lot of fun, but we wouldn't do it without you guys. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely be reaching out. I think there's a few folks actually that we were talking about reaching out to soon, and we'd love to have some folks on the show who've just been with us for so long, and we'd love to have them on to chat with. So
For sure.
check it out. But cool, y'all. That being said, we'll see you next week. Brand new year. See you then. Bye, y'all.
And remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye.